Hey, Chloe.
Yes, Michael.
Uh, there's this new pizza joint that just opened up off Caboose Ave. Uh, it's Antonio's. Um, you eat, I eat. Would you like to go there? Maybe at the same time with me?
Just us two?
Well, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable, you can always bring friends.
Oh,
I could bring.
no, us two is fine. Us two is great. I just wasn't sure if you were planning on having Joey come as well. I mean, he's cool to come too, but us two is just as good.
Well, Joey's been eating a lot of pizza lately, and he told me that that's the reason why he didn't get on the cross-country team, so he's trying to cut back so next year he'll be even stronger.
Yeah. You'll see that Joey is over her shoulder. You see Joey's behind her, and he's sort of like going, "Come on, go ask her out. Come on!" Like, and when she was talking about, I think when she starts saying something like, "Oh, is Joey gonna come with you?" and Joey's like, "No, I'm not coming with you. No, he's not coming." Yeah.
No, I was thinking maybe more of like a date.
With that, the color starts to rush into her pretty little cheeks, and she says, "Date would be fun. A date would be really fun."
Well, it's I don't want to force you into anything or anything.
No, she very quickly takes her hand and she sort of like takes her two hands and she wraps them around yours, and she like looks at you right in the eyes and she says, "I would love to go on a date with you."
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've been friends over the last year, and I just thought that you're really smart too, Michael, and you're super sensitive, and you have a really cool brother from another mother in the UK, and that's always a plus. And I mean, it doesn't hurt that you're on the cross-country team now too. Not that that mattered or anything. But I heard, according to Joey, it's a huge babe magnet, is what he calls it.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't listen to him. He likes to exaggerate things from time to time. But that's great. How about this weekend?
Great. Should we just meet there?
I'll walk by your house maybe, and we can walk there together.
I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. And she'll keep like squeezing your hand, and Joey again from behind is giving you like the thumbs up. Yes, yeah. So you'll go ahead and have ice cream, and then you will come home.
I think because he just made the cross country team. He just asked out a girl. I think he's gonna kind of burst into the door and just be like, well, look, everyone, the newest member of the cross country team, and guess who's got a date this weekend? Hello?
Michael, is that you? Do you hear a voice from the kitchen?
Oh, yes, Mom. And then he'll kind of go in and...
You sense that there's something off at the house. It definitely seems like there's some sort of like tension going on in the room right now. And you'll see that both your parents are in the kitchen. Your dad is on the table right now. He looked like he had his hands on his face, and as you come in, he pulls his head up and he greets you with what looks like a forced smile. And your mom also looks in your direction, and she's like wiping what you catch as tears from her eyes, and she also looks at you with a forced smile. And I'm gonna say that your parents, they don't normally like get into a fight or anything, but sometimes they do have pretty heated arguments. And when they have had heated arguments, their positioning is pretty much identical to their positioning here right now.
Oh, um, I'm sorry. Should I come back later? And
No, no, Michael, it's. Did I hear you got into the cross country team?
yeah, yeah,
You got yourself a date too, son? Thomas says.
I did. I finally worked up the courage to ask Chloe, who lives off of Stafford Street. It's just right down the road.
Oh, I like Chloe. She's really sweet. We should maybe we should invite her over to have dinner with us at some point.
Yeah. Is Are you sure everything's all right?
Everything's everything's fine. Nothing for you to worry about, Sophia says. And your dad looks at you as well. He says, "Everything's okay, Michael." But you can tell that they're lying.
Yeah.
You don't even have to roll anything. You can tell they're lying.
I would just say based off of like since he like kind of idolizes his dad in like the cop kind of like position, like how he would kind of try and suss out lies around schools and
Yeah.
whatever, kind of imitate his dad. Uh, uh, you guys do know who you're talking to, right? I mean, uh, I am your son, Dad. I can sniff out a lie just like the rest, just like you can.
Yes, that's true. That's one thing that you've always had an uncanny superpower. You can always tell when one of us is lying to you.
I feel like just then it was both, but yes, yeah. Come on, I'm the newest member of the cross country team. I'm practically a grown up. You can lay it on me.
I don't want to spoil your day, son. We should be celebrating, not going over family issues.
All right, just for today, but tomorrow is a new day. And if it's not resolved, if this isn't a resolved by tomorrow kind of thing, maybe I can help.
Your dad kind of gives you a little bit of a smile, and he'll get up from the table and he'll walk over to you, and without saying a word, he's just gonna wrap his arms around you and give you a big squeeze and a hug.
Yeah, yeah. Michael will return the hug. It's like, oh, okay.
He'll pull back and he'll put a hand on your arm, and he'll say, "Why don't we go out to eat?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?"
Um. Well, I do like Perkins. It's a bit of a walk, but it's still there. Nice subs.
Perkins it is. Maybe I'll get you a hero or something.
Yeah, that sounds great.
He'll force a smile, and the three of you will go and have dinner. And I'm gonna say that again, they're gonna try really hard to make this a nice evening for you. You can definitely tell something is lingering over their heads, your dad's especially, but you know that they're probably not gonna want to talk about anything with you, at least not that day.
Right. I think he would kind of like amuse them by like pretending like he doesn't see it anymore. Like he can't tell that they're faking it for him, uh, just to kind of like reassure them at the same time.
The next day, your dad, there'll be a knock on your door. This is after school.
Hmm.
Michael, can I come in?
Yeah, of course. I was just finishing up some homework.
He'll open the door and he'll walk in and he's going to sit on your bed. So I think you and I made a deal yesterday and said that if things weren't resolved, I was going to tell you what was happening.
All right.
So I had a case the other day, a very confusing case. I had been trying to hunt down a series of murders that had been going on in the area. I was working with a detective, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up cornering the suspect over at one of the residences nearby. Things got really... I wish I could say ugly, because ugly would be manageable. Things got very weird. We were at this house, and we had cornered this man who supposedly was assaulting this other gentleman for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And right when we broke into the house and yelled for him to surrender and come out with his hands up, he pointed at the man from across the room and he just collapsed. When we turned back to the suspect, he then pointed to my detective partner, and this strange streak of green light just came out of nowhere, and it was so bright I had to shield my eyes just for a second. But when I looked at the direction of this suspect, I could have sworn I just saw him disappear out of thin air.
The suspect just disappeared? Like, he didn't run away?
It doesn't make any sense. No, I am positive I just saw him just disappear, like some magician's act. I checked the victim. He wasn't breathing. His heart stopped beating. And then I went to go check on my partner, and it was the exact same thing. It was almost like they both simultaneously ended up having a cardiac arrest of some sort.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's impossible. That's what it is. It's impossible.
I mean, sure, one cardiac arrest is unusual, but maybe could be explained, but two in the same spot and flashes of light? Is this like aliens?
Aliens. You have quite an imagination there, son, he says.
I think it's all the movies.
I don't know. I called for backup, and when they asked me what happened, I didn't have a choice but to just tell them exactly what I saw. Do you think I'm crazy, son?
Crazy? No, you're like the most sane person I know.
Well, my chief has started to question my abilities to properly work under duress at the workforce. I don't know. The doctors couldn't seem to find any other explanation except for sudden cardiac arrest. And there's still this man at large that we're still hunting down that disappeared out of thin air.
Right. They don't think the man was there, or what about not your partner, but the other man? There's no identification or anything?
We were able to ID the man, and so far we haven't been able to determine why this suspect was targeting him.
I see. Well, what are you gonna do?
Well, I've already done it. That's it. I've been trying to find... I was trying to see if I could hunt down this man. Trying to see if I could get some sort of explanation as to what happened to him. And I hunted him. I finally found him again at, I guess, a hideout of sorts. And I saw... You can feel him straining, like really, really straining to remember something. But for whatever reason, he just can't remember it. And he says, I saw more flashes, and he like starts to shake his head a little bit more. Things flying, and someone changing, transforming it. I don't know, none of this makes any sense. I feel like every time I tell this story, it's always different when I tell it to somebody else.
Transforming? Stuff flying? Maybe they threw something at your head and it kind of wonked out your vision or something.
I don't know. I was so close. I was so close to catching him. But something happened and I don't remember. Schvetz. All I remember is that word, Schvetz.
Schvetz?
I can't... That's all I can remember. And I've been trying to tell my chief and all my colleagues all about what I saw, but everything is just in pieces. In tiny, tiny pieces of a vast puzzle. I've been trying so hard for the last 6 months to piece everything together and solve this case. People at the Force thought I was crazy. They said that I was losing it. Several of my co-workers said that I should go look at a therapist, and I did for quite some time, but none of that seemed to help. And as of yesterday, I was discharged from the Force, son. They said I was obsessed. They said that I was endangering myself and that I should quit. Quit insisting on this. But I know what I saw, son. I know what I saw. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. And when he does that, he sort of like kind of grabs you and like is looking at you in the eye and is, I told you I'm not crazy. And he's never grabbed you in that way at all. He's never like touched you at all. And so, and like for a split second, maybe that at least takes you aback, if not scared, just for a split second.
It definitely like jars him, like his eyes will go wide, like, oh.
I'm sorry. He like rubs his head. I didn't mean to touch you like that. I'm so sorry.
Dad, like, I mean, you just lost your job, and well, what if we found this person, and you know, we could find him and bring him back, and make him answer for all this, and then you can get your job back.
First of all, Michael, there's no we. You have to focus on your schoolwork. You have to focus on all your extracurricular activities. And this new girlfriend that you have. That is what you should be doing. That is what your job is.
I can't just let you do this alone. You've always had a partner.
I'm sorry, Michael, but this is not something that you can participate in. I promised you I would tell you what happened, but I did not promise that you would get involved in any way.
All right.
I'll find a new job. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, at least promise me if you find yourself in too much trouble, it doesn't have to be me, but at least get someone you trust to back you up. If you decide to try and continue to find this individual, that is.
He'll give you your shoulder a squeeze. A few months pass by. We're studying late for school. You dozed off and fell asleep in the middle of your studies. When you suddenly are awoken by frightening screams from your parents' bedroom. You can hear your mom saying, Thomas, you're scaring me. Don't, stay right there. Don't touch me, she says.
I think he would rush to his parents' room.
You rush over to your parents' room, and as you're rushing, you can hear your mom screaming out, Thomas, you're hurting me! And you'll burst through the room, and you see that your dad has your mom up against the wall, and you can see that she's got some bruises on her arms, and your dad just has this really bizarre, animalistic, maniacal look on his face that just came from nowhere. Over the last few days, he was a bit quieter than normal. He wasn't like his usual self, but I'm gonna say that between your cross-country team, your cross-country team meets after school, and things have been going really well with you and Chloe, and you've actually started dating. You've just been you just had a lot going on with your life right now, so maybe you were semi-distracted. But whoever this man is right now before your mom just seems like a completely different person, and he has your mom up against the wall, and he's just yelling at her, I know what I saw, you have to believe me, they're out there, they're all out there, and they're going to be a danger to us, they're going to get me, they're going to get you, they're going to get Michael, and they're going to take us all away.
I think Michael is going to just kind of spring into action and try and since I'm assuming he's facing the wall holding his mom up, so he's going to try and run around and put his arm around his throat and kind of dive backwards to try and tackle him.
Yeah, you'll try to dive backwards to try to tackle him. He himself is really, really strong, and he actually starts to fight back. And he says, You don't understand. We're all in danger. They're going to kill us all.
Let it go. I'm still gonna try and restrain him, and or at least trying to get him to let go of his mom.
Okay, roll a strength. You can keep the stats that you have right now.
That is a 13.
That is a 13?
Yes.
Okay. So you manage to overpower him. He doesn't seem to recognize who you are. He probably thinks that you're some other one of them. and he's like trying to fight you off, but you'll be able to successfully pull him away from your mother. And your mother just kind of backs up, completely frightened, with tears in her eyes, and she looks absolutely scared. And she says, "Michael, no, Michael, get out of here and call 911. Your father's sick."
I think, I don't know. He's trying to hold him back and clearly struggling because, like you said, his dad is strong. So say, "Mom, get out! You go get help. I'll hold him down. I'll hold him back."
She says, "Michael, you can't hold him back for too long."
"That I'll be fine. Just go get help."
By this point, your dad is like clawing, like his nails are semi digging deep into your arm as he's like scratching off blood. And your mom will say, I'm gonna call 911. As soon as if he starts to break loose, you run as fast as you can, Michael. Do you hear me?"
"I will go."
She will rush down the stairs. And your dad is still like struggling, and his eyes have sort of gone almost like up his like behind of his head, and he's still like struggling very hard, and you can sense that you got your arm around his throat. He's starting to cough a little bit as if you're starting to suffocate him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I think now he's gonna try and like throw him to the ground and kind of like pin him, like kind of like lay on top of him, kind of like how he would have seen his father do to suspects, like kind of throw him to the ground and kind of put their hands behind their back. Yeah. I will say that you will be able to maintain control of him, even though he is completely gone at the moment. You'll hear the sounds of police sirens, and several officers enter the room, many of whom you actually know by face. You know these are actually ex-coworkers of your father, and you know, two of them come up to him and they like start to like hold him down to the ground, and they start to cuff him. And one of them says, who you know is a very good friends with Thomas, says, "All right, Thomas, it's okay, Thomas, it's over, just relax. And your dad is just yelling out all these like explicatives and curses. Your dad's not the kind of person who just drops the F-bomb like willy-nilly like that. This is like something totally off about him. And it takes at least another officer, 3 total, to keep him pinned down and sedate him finally. And they'll take him away out of the house. You will be brought downstairs, and you will see that your mom is outside with the rest of the police. And when you're taken out, she rushes over to you and she wraps her arms around you. "Michael, are you hurt?" "Am I hurt? Are you okay?"
She says, I'm okay. I'm a little bruised, and I have the paramedic said I have a small wrist fracture, but I'm okay.
What happened? What made him go off like that?
He seemed perfectly fine just a moment ago, and then he started babbling about weird things that I just didn't understand, and I kept asking him, "Thomas, what are you talking about? What's wrong?" And it was like I was speaking a completely different language to him.
I don't understand. This seems so random.
I don't know, but I think your father is very sick, Michael.
Sick? How could he be sick? He was just fine.
I don't think he was.
Ever since that case. The case where 2 people had cardiac arrests.
Michael, I don't want to hear you talking about any cases or anything like that. That is what led your father down this route in the first place.
And look what's happened to him.
Yes, Michael, look what happened to him. I don't want you to go down that path.
Someone doesn't just get sick like that, Mom.
Michael, I need you to look at me. This is very important. I am asking you, Michael. I need you to promise me that you are not going to go looking for whoever it was that your father was looking for. I need you to promise me that.
But what if he found him? What if that's the reason? What if he found out something big?
Michael, we don't even know if that man even exists.
2 people just dropped dead in an alley due to the same thing. No blood, no nothing, no needles, there's no poison. The odds.
Michael, you know what curiosity did with the cat. There are some truths that are better left unknown.
All right, Mom.
Thank you, Michael. And she will pull you in and give you a hug, a very tight hug.
Michael will go in and give her a hug, but he doesn't close his eyes. His eyes kind of are like, kind of like darting back and forth, like he's replaying all the memories that he's had with his dad. Anything that he's like, that conversation that he had with like Chevettes and like anything that he can remember. He's clearly like made a false promise to his mom as he's like giving her a hug.
Yeah.
Like, I promise, but I'm not letting this go.
Okay. That will be the last flashback scene. So now we're going to fast forward to the office, in Rigel's office in the Orion facility. And you just came and you plopped... What did you do again when you entered into her office? You plopped something on the desk.
Yeah. So I pull out the bronze... what are they? Nuts?
Yeah, I think so.
So he just pulls that out and kind of like slams it down on her desk and moves it towards her.
What do you have here, Agent Polaris?
A coin.
She looks at it. I don't recognize this currency.
Is she lying?
You don't think she's lying. You don't think... She doesn't seem to know what this currency is.
Okay. That was found at a scene of another magical creature. That is printed currency. I don't know if you took sociology, but printed currency is a sign of advanced civilization. Look at it. Have you ever seen a coin like that before?
It's oddly shaped, I do admit, and the engravings. I mean, if I didn't know any better, it looked like some sort of fake coin that anyone can create.
Maybe. But I've been to a school. We've seen magic. I'm thinking that this is bigger than we anticipated.
If your hunch is right, and if this actually is real currency of some other civilization, then how large of a society are we talking here? This magical society.
I didn't believe it at first when I was first told, and I didn't want to tell you until I knew for a fact that it was real. I'm pretty sure it's global.
Global?
I've been to a school here We drove into a tree, but we didn't hit the tree. We kept driving. And then there's this big castle. There's moving paintings, there's weird creatures. There's people talking about magic like it's just commonplace.
She studies you very carefully, and she's just nodding as you're talking, and she says, I believe you, Agent Polaris.
Good. Because if you didn't, I had more. I planted a bug in the library. Well, in a book. So, I don't know where the bug is now. But if we can station agents, I can show you on the map where it is. I kept track of the turns and the distance.
I definitely would love to hear all of the recordings from this bug that you speak of. So tell me, Agent Polaris, we've established that this society has currency, and according to you, you have reasons to believe they are located globally around the world. Does this society, I presume, have some sort of government?
Yes. From my sources, the ministry. I think that's what they call themselves, the ministry.
She leans back a bit and she folds her arms. All right, Agent Polaris. Now that you have some convincing arguments towards the actual existence of this magical society with a magical government presiding over them, what do you think should be our next move?
We need to be extremely careful. I don't mean to sound rude or impolite, but I may not have trusted you at first completely. When I first heard about, all of this, because I obviously believed it before I had enough proof to come to you. But I had to test you to make sure that you weren't one of them.
One of them?
One of the magic users. Wizards.
Absolutely not.
I didn't mean any offense, but while I was at the school, I saw a poster of children who were in some sort of tournament or something, and one of the last names stuck out to me. The Petrovs. There's Tobias was the name on the poster. I know the Petrovs. When I was in high school, I dated one. But I don't know if there's any correlation there or not, but they could be everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere. They've ingrained themselves into our society. They're hiding right under our noses. If we walk into a meeting, how do we know that they didn't plant a spy years ago that climbed the ranks and is now in the upper echelon of our government?
That would be very disturbing.
My father was onto something. He went insane. He couldn't remember. What if they have some sort of device like we have where, we spray them and they can't remember? Well, what if they had that first? And that's how they've been hiding.
Do you have reason to believe that they are a threat to society as we know it?
I don't think so. But I know that they're a threat if you want to expose the truth. Because it seems to me like they're willing to go to any lengths to hide it.
I feel like the public should know, however. If there are these secret societies amongst us, especially if these secret societies are responsible for the deaths that you've been giving me in your reports as of late, don't you think that the families of these victims have a right to know?
I do.
So what do you suggest?
Well, we definitely have to report it higher up, but I think we just need to be more careful about who we tell, and we need to vet anyone who we tell before we tell them. Maybe drop subtle clues and see if we can catch them in a lie, or if they recognize something that we say.
So you don't think we should directly start telling any of our government officials about any of this yet?
Well, not until we know for sure that they aren't a part of this ministry. Because if we tell the wrong person and they happen to be a part of the ministry, they could take this whole operation down and we would be left with nothing.
Do you see any value in trying to make contact with these people? Or make contact with this government?
I've made contact with these people. And I've asked permission because this is someone I trust. Celeste.
Celeste?
She's one of them. She's not part of the ministry.
This whole time, she is a member of the magical society?
Yes.
And she admitted it to you?
She did.
She must then be a wealth of information then.
She is. I've been slowly drawing information out from her, but I didn't want to push too hard and I didn't want to push too fast because I need to corroborate the things that she's telling me. She told me that she was from another school in Paris. I forget the name that she called it. But that's why I think it's global. If there's a school here and there's a school in Paris, why wouldn't there be schools anywhere else?
What makes you trust her? Just out of curiosity.
She doesn't like the ministry. She doesn't believe that the truth should be hidden. She has the same values. I have a good read on people. And I think she somewhat tells the truth about these things. She hasn't lied to me yet. Well, except for the initial thing about her being a magic user. And on top of that, there have been plenty of times where she could have erased my memory or let me die. And she hasn't.
Fair enough, Agent Polaris. Alright. This is a lot of information all at once, but I'm going to try to take it in stride. So I guess ultimately, I still want to know definitively what is our next move then. You said that you don't think we should tell any of the officials directly. You said that you don't think it's worth reaching out to the ministry itself?
I think we definitely have to tell the higher-ups. But we just need to do it slowly. We need to make sure that they aren't a part of this ministry. Because the ministry is too convinced on keeping this a secret. I just think maybe once we tell the higher-ups, maybe we could reach out to the ministry. Once we tell enough people who've been spread out far enough, maybe we leave some logs behind that are hidden away. So if we do get our minds erased or something, we can come back and, rebuild. We just need safeguards.
Very well. I will put Agent Scythe in charge of beginning to trickle the information to our higher government officials, starting here in Washington, D.C.
Very good.
In the meantime, Agent Polaris, I think you should continue your missions at least for the next few weeks while we gauge the temperature and determine how things are going with your plan to inform the other officials. I should also mention to you a new hire that we brought into the team. Jack Shipman is his name. She shows you a profile. He is a criminal psychologist. I have assigned him specifically to try to spend some time having some sessions with the people that you have captured, try to get into their heads. Not that I don't disbelieve everything that you're saying, but I just want to make sure that the people that we have captured don't show signs of mental illnesses.
That's fair. It's always good to check, double check, and then triple check everything. We need this to be airtight if we're going to start spewing off this, what seems to be nonsense.
I'll make sure to have Mr. Shipman introduce himself to you as soon as possible.
On that same note, Celeste, she is a wizard, a witch, wizard, something. But she confided me in something else. And I asked her, and she said that this was fine. She's a vampire.
That may complicate things. When you say vampire, are you talking about the vampires that I would know from stories?
Yeah, I asked the same thing. Kind of. There's some truth, some not truth. If you recall back, there was a reason why she didn't want a silver buckle.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Thought it was odd too.
Agent Polaris, this information is a bit hard to swallow. Not, again, because I don't believe you, but because I do. You're asking me to take quite a leap of faith with this. Why do you believe it would not be wise for us to interrogate Celeste herself? You might trust her, but with this information, I have very great difficulty trusting her myself.
Again, ma'am, that last mission, it was almost my last. I was bitten by a something like a werewolf. And I didn't want to be a werewolf, and it seems like that's what was happening. I was dying. Celeste, she let me keep my humanity by sucking out the poison in my blood. And if you know vampires like I know vampires, bloodlust is kind of like their thing. But she held back. She could have easily have drained me. But she held back. And all my weeks and months that I've traveled with her, I have not once seen her drink blood. Except for that one time. But that was me.
All right, Agent Polaris. For now, I will rely on your judgment.
If you wish to talk to her, she said that she was open to talking.
Yes. Oh, yes. Trust me. We will have a conversation. Preferably not alone.
Fair. I would, keep some silver if you're really nervous about it. We know for a fact that hurts.
That would be wise. Thank you for the tip. Is there anything else, Agent Polaris?
One more thing. Two more, actually. First, the hoops. These rings that I've been telling you that we've been researching.
Yes.
Well, they're magical rings. They seem to be tied with astrological signs or something. And, they work with us. As in, people who cannot cast spells.
Interesting.
And I guess you could always go down and try yourself, but I was the guinea pig. I held a ring. I don't remember which one, there's so many. But after I focused on it, in the lab, they had broken this stick, a wand, whatever. And there was, like a piece of leprechaun and something else. And after I focused on that ring, I blinked, and the wand was not broken. They were just about to break it.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I went back in time. But only a minute in time. And I've seen them do other things, but I think each hoop is tied to a different astrological sign, which is tied to a different power.
So you're implying that there's up to 12 of these?
Is that how many signs there are?
Yes.
Oh.
Last I checked.
Then, yes. Wizards and us, humans, we can use them to varying degrees. But that's what they have been testing down there, and I thought you had a right to know.
That's interesting. I don't know if that's something we should concern ourselves with above the issues about informing our government, but it's good to know.
I agree. As to what we should do with these hoops, I'm under the camp of we destroy them, because there's one that's mind control, and that just does not sound good. I don't think we have that one, though. But
what are the powers of the ones we do have?
Off the top of my head, I know we have invisibility, the time one. Yeah, we have the water, like one that can control water.
I'm not going to lie to you, Agent Polaris. Those powers seem very useful. And it does sound like it would be quite a waste if they were destroyed.
It does. But, I mean, security should be our top priority. I mean, if those things got out into the wrong hands, at the very least, I think we need to just lock them away and just forget about them. And make sure no one else can ever get their hands on them, because we've only just started with these hoops, these rings, whatever, and they can already do some amazing things.
One could argue that powers such as those could help maintain security. But I know what you're trying to say.
That's what we said about nuclear weapons, ma'am.
Very true. Well, I'll tell you what. It's probably best for us to not mention these hoops to our government, at least not yet. Keep them secure if you believe that is the best thing to do.
Thank you. And then there was one more matter. I was wondering if I could have a few days personal time.
How much time would you need?
2 days at most. I want to go home and visit my family.
Very well, Michael. Granted.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. I think that you've been through a lot, and according to what you've said, you've learned a lot. 2 days is very reasonable, I think.
Thank you.
You're dismissed, Michael, unless you had something else.
No. I hope I didn't ruin your day with all that information.
No. I definitely would appreciate a full report at my desk as soon as you're able to.
Of course, you'll have it before I leave.
Thank you.
And he'll kind of give a nod and exit.
Okay. And we'll end it there.
Awesome.
Thank you. We got a lot of great stuff here.